What I wouldn't give to see this live. Talking Heads is a great band. Beginning in 1975, composed of 4 art students with similar haircuts who decided to start making weird music, they found prolific success in the New York music scene and later in popular music charts. But by the late 80s, tensions began to rise, resulting in a pretty messy breakup. The main characters of this conflict being Chris and Tina, the married couple who made up 50% of the 4-person band, and David Byrne, who was frontman and 100% of the band's image. Chris and Tina felt they weren't properly credited for their work, and as the years went on, resentment grew. At one point, David even forced Tina to re-audition for her position as bass player in her own band. Later, Tina would try to discreetly hire a new lead singer while on tour. As the years went on, everyone had a different idea as to what direction the band should go. Chris and Tina being more rock and roll, and David wanting to pursue island-style music. By the end, David was refusing to come to the studio to practice, instead working on his solo projects. You can see the breakup was in the works for a long time. When Byrne eventually just announced their breakup to the press before his bandmates, the other members were shocked to discover by reading the newspaper their careers as Talking Heads were over. So, should they get back together? It's been around 30 years since they last played a show, so fans new and old are desperate for a chance to witness them live. It's a subject that keeps fans pressed even after all these years, some even saying they'd sell their car for tickets or joking that they should get a Las Vegas Sphere residency. But how do the band members themselves feel about getting back together? Well, it's tricky to say, since their press appearances are overwhelmingly neutral. This puts fans in the position to make a lot of speculations, and speculate they do. For example, the response to their rare group appearance on Stephen Colbert a few years ago, where fans accused David Byrne of being 5 feet away from everyone else and dressed to blend in with the couch. Fan discourse can get pretty far out and hinges more on fans' perception than what is factually known. With the major thought about why they won't get back together having to do with them being at odds, people tend to choose from 2 opposing narratives. To quote a Reddit user in regards to the breakup, "You will find this general topic has a deep history on the sub, where some rally in the David camp, others in the Chris and Tina camp, while everyone respects the discreet neutrality of Jerry. So, at times, Chris and Tina are painted by fans to be the villains, accusations about them not really pulling their weight in the band or being bullies. Chris's 2020 memoir, Remain in Love, being cited by a lot of fans as an example of just how not over the breakup they are, since it includes a lot of slights towards David. And while David is pretty unanimously agreed upon as talented, he was also seen as pretty dominating, hard to work with, and on quite an ego trip at the time of the breakup. And while a definitive part of Talking Heads, fans agree his solo stuff is undeniably different. It's just not the same without the rest of the band backing him. Some fans emphasize that while still touring, David is more interested in creating new art over revisiting old material, which in of itself is a complaint waged at Chris and Tina, who are usually seen as overly sentimental about the good old days. But again, other fans don't even want a reunion in the first place, as many have grown tired of so-called nostalgia tours, where aging bands play hits for huge ticket prices. Many fans feel it could harm their legacy. Some even stated it as a point of pride that they've never reunited. So where does that leave us? While Talking Heads reportedly turned down a deal to reunite for an $80 million tour, which some said was the nail in the coffin, others remain hopeful. People have been speculating for decades about what the so-called nail in the coffin is, and at the end of the day, nobody really knows. When we talk about Talking Heads, we're mostly just talking about how we feel about them, not about how they feel about each other or their body of work. Remasters of albums, unreleased demos, and new music videos continue to come out frequently and always get people talking. Talking Heads as a brand has always been more centered around the art than the more linear money-making aspect. People will continue to connect with their weird and out-of-step sensibilities. So, if maybe in a decade, the now in their 80s Talking Heads announce a residency at the Las Vegas Sphere, I'll sell my car and go.